soon. Okay, so at the moment then, with 10 laps completed, it's Mac Attacks who lead from Kraken and Oldcat. Our fourth, also our fifth. The first of the Amigos 381 moves up to 6th place, only racing now to 7th, and it's Coastal, Inglorious Bees and Flat Cat. They are the top 10. So it's very possible that they are pacing themselves at the moment as the leaders go past, and in fact the leader is getting a little bit of a gap between himself and the Kraken boys. 1.2 seconds, another fastest lap for the Mack Attacks on that lap, a 126.17. So Simon Walker-Hansel really pushing on now to try and get a little bit of a breather between himself and his pursuers. Certainly a car to watch for is 381, that's the Amigo Motorsport machine. It's now up to 5th, so it started 5th but it dropped down, started 6th in fact, but it dropped down to the 10th position. Now it's come up to 6th, so 381 actually moving through the field pretty well. 5th place now for 381, so that is a car to watch. That's the first of the Amigo entries. That's the blue and white machine, almost at the head of that second group. Here come the leaders, and they are much closer together, and they've changed because the Krakens have taken over. The 411 is now in the lead. And just when it looked like he was trying to make a bit of a gap, then that group of 4 disputing 4th all together into the hairpin, and it looks now like the Amigo Motorsport entry 381's lost a place because he's down to 6th again now. But the 2 leaders side by side into the S's, and this is a 5-hour race, chaps. You would think it was a sprint the way they're going at it, and Walker-Hansel goes back into the lead. So Mack Attacks retake the lead, and Stuart Lynn, who had got the As with any endurance race, there's always the element of strategy that has to take place because not all of your drivers are going to be equally matched. So your fastest driver presumably set that grid time. That's not necessarily the driver who started the race. So we will see a certain amount of toing and froing as faster and slower drivers get into these cars. Mack Attacks back at the top of the charts. Fastest lap, still to their credit, at 126.17, which they did on lap number 10. And here come the leaders, that very brightly coloured 347, the Mack Attack car, fairly distinctive as it goes past the start-finish line. Now back to almost a second of advantage over Stuart Lynn and the Kraken Motorsport machine 411. Leaders heading through Spitfires, and now out towards Debany, the ever-vigilant Pembrey marshals giving the blue flag to some of the slower traffic. Here's the battle for 4th coming towards the S's now, and 3 cars really rather than 4 in that battle, I would have said, and it looks to me as though the Haidu Racing car, which is 451, is dropping back slightly in 7th place now. So that's becoming a 3-car squabble for 4th place. And certainly from this point on, I don't anticipate a clear lap for anybody really, because the leaders now are deep in traffic, having to cope with slower cars most times through. We got a new fastest lap, 1:26.07. And a very grassy exit from Honda for the 383, and that isn't one of the leaders, not on our screen yet, so that's outside the top 20. So 383 having a grassy old moment there is Richard Perry in Slingshot Racing. Richard Perry, I do believe, is a very experienced Citroen 2CV driver. One of the most responsible marshalling jobs, a flag marshal. And if you would like to join the marshalling force, then all you need to do is go onto either the BARC website or the BMMC website, and they will show you what you need to do to become a marshal. You normally come for a taster day first at your local circuit, and from there spend a day on the bank. I know we had some drivers in the Caterham Academy at Brands Hatch last week who were out on the post because they got points in their championship if they spent a day marshalling, and they thoroughly enjoyed themselves. So it's a good thing to do to be a marshal, and when you see them waving blue flags, it means that they know exactly what's going on in the race. They've worked out who the leader is, they're following the race and helping the leader to get through the traffic. So looking around the circuit to find where the leader is. Here he is coming into Honda now. Visually quicker than many of the others. That 347 Mack Attack car. Through it goes, completing 19 laps, pursued as always by the Kraken Motorsport example, then the old hat. This group of 3, Hurricane, Polo Rosso and Amigo. Still with that fastest lap to the 381 Amigo Racing entry, 1:26.077. there's the second Amigo entry, 380, down in 13th position. And the first 20 have come through and passed us, and looking to see where the leaders are. Still a little way off actually breaking into the top 20 in terms of who they have been lapping. Although there is a minute gap between the maximum effort car 328 in 20th and the leading car, so it won't be too long before the leaders catch up and get into the top 20 in terms of who they are lapping. There is the leader going towards the hairpin now, and a lot of traffic up ahead of him. There's a gaggle of about 6 cars just coming out of the S's now as he goes into them. So that's going to be an interesting moment for him as he has to thread his way through that very substantial gaggle of cars in a few moments. So as the 20 lap mark is passed, it's still McIntyre of that second group. It's 321 Old Hat in 5th, 310 Polo Rosso in 6th, then it's Kaidu Racing, Coastal Racing, Inglorious Bees and Flat Cap. Those are the top 10. And the leader goes through again, completing 22. And he is down, coming through Debaney now. A stationary blue being held there at the Spitfire's Marshals post. That means someone is following you closely. You need to look in your mirrors. If it's way, it means you are being overtaken or about to be overtaken. Look in your mirrors now. Move out of the way. Been some debate in the motoring press about blue flags, whether the leaders, the owners should be on them to overtake. But personally, it's very for a slow competitor to know when a faster driver is approaching. It could certainly help to avoid an accident. Top 20 have gone through. There is the leader. So not yet. The C1 team can get themselves